First thing we're doing is check out my Tupac shirt. He was a truth teller. That's why they had to take him off the table. So today, we're talking about Duran Duran's Thanksgiving tour, the Ultra Chrome Latex and Steel tour, live. That's the name of the album. Now, I run, like it's like a fucking, like I got a fucking car rental place. I do a Duran Duran Instagram page. I was asking people on it about this album because it's available on streaming, and you can buy it, like, you can buy it at Walmart. It was a Record Store Day exclusive for 2018, and yet, like, I see the word bootleg associated with it a lot. And yeah, I could kind of believe that too, because it's not mixed, really. I almost said it's not mixed well, but it's kind of not mixed. So I don't know what the deal with this is. But it's a thing that exists, so we're going to talk about it. I love it. The first thing about it that you got to know, though, is Nick isn't on it. I mean, he's there, you just can't hear him. It's like a vocal and drum mix, and occasionally you hear Warren. So it's kind of interesting because you get to hear like the songs in kind of a rock mode, because the keyboards aren't there. I mean, I shouldn't say they're there, but they're like way, way, way down. It sounds like a monitor mix or something, but without fucking Nick. It's weird. It was recorded at Pleasure Island in Disney World, and on 11/27/97, which was Thanksgiving, hence the name. That name is pretty unwieldy for an album, though, huh? Thanksgiving tour, the Ultra Chrome Latex and Steel tour, live. That's the official title of the thing. So, like, that sounds like a bootleg too, but like I said, it exists. It's available. You can hear it. So, bass is Wes Wilmire. I think he's toured with them before. I think he played bass on the tour I saw them on before this. The one for the wedding album. What the hell was the name of that? I forget. What was the name of that? Why? No one's going to answer me. Steve Alexander plays drums. And it's an hour and 30 minutes. And yeah, like I said, a Record Store Day exclusive for 2018. It was available in a few different colors of vinyl. And yeah, here we go. The first two tracks are just sort of, track one's called Intro, which is just crowd noise mixed with some weird kind of music they have going in the background. If you're a Mandela affected person, you'll be interested to hear that they have samples from some kind of old film. And what it is she's saying, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest?" She's saying this, okay? Whoever this actress is on this thing, wherever they got this sound clip from. Now, if you're Mandela affected, you know that no longer exists. It's Magic Mirror on the Wall. It always has been, and I'm actually going to do a video on that soon, because more people should talk about the insanity that is a Mandela effect. Track two is, track one's called Opening. It's just noise and like a little weird music with the girl saying "Mirror, mirror on the wall." Two is Intro, which sounds just like they're turning the keyboards on that you'll never hear again. And then finally we go into the first real track, which is track three, Medazzaland. I love Medazzaland as a track because we get to hear Nick sing, which is really just kind of speaking. But it's still great because I love Nick. I mean, he's my favorite. He's my favorite Duran member. And he kind of is Duran Duran. Nick Rhodes, like I think I've said this before, like Nick and John, they met when they were kids, like 14, 15. They bonded over the UK punk scene. And whereas a lot of kids saw these punk bands and were influenced to start making their own band because they're like, well, fuck it, I can do this shit. Nick did one better. And he said, fuck it, I'm not even going to play an instrument. I'm going to take a lot of boxes that make noise, and I'm going to stand in the middle of them and look busy. He did that till 1984. The stuff got more elaborate, and he looked like he was doing even more important stuff, but he was really just pushing a button that had the sample on it of the fucking track. That is punk rock. That is beyond punk rock. That's taking punk rock to a whole new level. He couldn't even be asked to learn an instrument. I mean, he got better, he learned, and I'm sure he knows how to play now, but when they're recording, it got to a real problem with them in '85 when they met with John Barry to record A Beautiful Kill, and he was just like, this guy doesn't understand music, he can't play anything, and I guess they had kind of a blowout there, because like Nick didn't know chords, or he wasn't a musician really. He was more like a Brian Eno type character, just noise. But that being said, Nick Rhodes, what he did and his contribution was brilliant. The sounds he picked and the bed of stuff he put under them is what made them. It was a combination of his weirdo sounds and Andy Taylor's pseudo heavy metal guitar that made that band like what they were, I think, in the early days anyway. So total props to Nick Rhodes, my favorite Duran Duran member. And I'm sure he can play now. So anyway, he gets to sing track 3, Medazzaland, just like on the album from which it comes, Medazzaland. This is the tour for that album. A lot to say about that tour, but we're not going to get into it because I want to kind of stay on target and talk about this. Track 4, Big Bang Generation, which is how the Medazzaland album goes. Kind of a cool song. It's not one of my favorites on that album, but it's cool. It's good enough. It's an energetic opener. Simon sounds great. I heard a lot of people say Simon sounds bad on this album. I mean, he sounds all right. He flubs a couple things, but that guy is such an incredible singer. These are not easy songs to sing, especially the stuff he recorded on the first couple albums. Like, he was a kid. Going into 97, we have an almost 40-year-old man trying to do these songs every night. It's not easy. He's a fantastic singer, really underrated, and he's never talked about when they talk about great frontmen. Excuse me, just lighting my my cancer maker. He's so great. So anytime he flubs something, it's just like, hey man, you got a tough job. It's hard to critique Simon, man, because he's so good. Track 5, Hungry Like the Wolf. The interesting thing about this, and right before he plays this song, he says, hey, we're going to do a lot of stuff we haven't done tonight. Some stuff you thought you'd never hear us play, and they do. But the great thing about this is I'm glad they went back to playing Hungry Like the Wolf the way it should be played, because for the prior 6 years, they played some really fruity version with like violins and acoustic guitars. It was slowed down. The last time they played it normal was the Big Thing tour, and I saw them on the Wedding album tour, and I'm gonna go crazy if I can't remember the name of that tour. It was something. What was the fucking Wedding album tour? All right, I'm not gonna do this. The show was good, but at the time, I'm not going to get too into it either, off track, but then the 80s sound was really passé, and it was all about grunge and organic, and so they didn't want to come with all the synths when they came back with the Wedding album. So they, instead of doing synth parts, they did everything on like violins and stuff. It was really bizarre. I don't even know what Nick was doing. He's he was playing a really pared down kind of system. I think electric piano. They're kind of running from the 80s at that point. So this version of Hungry Like the Wolf, which is track 5 on the Thanksgiving tour, the Ultra Chrome Latex and Steel Tour Live, ridiculous. This version of Hungry Like the Wolf is the first time in like 6 or 7 years that they actually played it the right way. And it sounds great. It sounds extra cool and different because it's just guitar. Like this whole album, this whole live album, Nick isn't, you can't hear Nick. So it's an interesting kind of alternate universe, what if type of thing. If they were just like a standard rock band without Nick, which wouldn't have been good because they would just be another band. But it's interesting to hear, you know. Track 6, Who Do You Think You Are, which is one of my favorites from the Midazoland album. One of the few songs on the album written about John Taylor. I suspect, as do others, it's almost Oasis-y in a way. I love this song. It's great. It holds up. I wish they'd play more stuff from this era, but I understand why they don't. Their sets now are so incredibly short. Like this set here is an hour and a half, and there's no editing. It's just like this is like the monitor mix, you know, from the drums and guitar and vocals. And it's an hour and 30, which is about right. They do 19 songs. These days you see Duran Duran, like they do 12. And they fucking fuck off after 12. It's like, really guys, how are you supposed to, whatever. We're not talking about that. 7, Electric Marborella, which was a single from Midazoland. Another great tune. I love Electric Marborella. It has that kind of old style Duran Duran sound. I kind of think that's what they were going for with that track. And the video's great. And I can't hear the song and not think about the video. Sure you've seen it if you're watching this. They have the wind-up robot girl. Fantastic. Track 8 is View to a Kill. Where, you know what, thinking of it now, how can you hear the Nick's hits there? I think you can hear them a little bit in this one, because he has such prominent parts there, where there's not a lot of stuff competing with the keys, but barely. Standard version, Simon nails it. He's a little flat in a couple places. He's always had trouble with this song, but it's always in the set. So more props to him. Yeah, I mean, famously, I don't even mean because of the Live Aid thing. He's just kind of always, this has always been a real, like, is he going to do it? He's going to make it. And does a good job here. Then another Midazoland song, track 9, Out of My Mind, which was one of the singles from the album. It was also featured in the movie The Saint with Val Kilmer. And I love this song. Another great video, of course. And it's kind of about, well, you know, if anyone's watching this video, you know the song. So I don't have to go too into what the tunes are. I'm just kind of going to tell you how these live versions sound on this particular album. Out of My Mind sounds good. There, see how much easier that is? Track 10, Saber Prayer. Another good version. It is weird because you can't really hear Nick. But in the bass playing is just from Wes, it's really rudimentary. It's almost like he doesn't do any of the stuff John does, like the walking stuff or the little flourishes. He just kind of sticks, it seems like he's just playing the root notes I don't know if they told him to do that, to keep it simple, because he's not like, you know, a real featured part of the band at this point. He's just a backup touring guy. Maybe that's the thing and I shouldn't, you know, blame him for it. They want to keep the emphasis on the three guys, Warren. Yeah, that's another thing about this album. It's just Warren, who was the replacement for Andy Taylor, who came in 86, but didn't become a full member until 89, and just Simon and Nick. But they made a couple good albums during this period. They made Midazoland, which is what this tour is for, and Pop Trash, which is another great album. I mean, you know, I don't think they made a bad album outside of Red Carpet Massacre. I really can't get through that. But even that, there's still some good songs on it, like Box of Honey and The Valley. But that's the only real dud in the bunch for me. So I'm an apologist when it comes to these guys. I like almost everything. Track 11, another great song from Dazzland called Be My Icon, which may be my favorite song. It's either that or Who Do You Think You Are? Be My Icon is just about idol worship and the perils of idol worship. Then track 12, Buried in the Sand, another song about JT. This one's a bit personal. Lyrically, they don't really tear him apart, but they let him know, you know. They let him know. Then, this is the good part here. Well, it's all good. Track 13, Come Undone. Of course, that has to be in there. It sounds good. Nothing out of the ordinary. Then track 14 is Anyone Out There, which is the first time they had played that in a long time. Like, maybe since Rio. I think since Rio was the first. And thinking of it, I don't even know if they played Anyone Out There on that tour. Wait a minute, I'm sure they did. They must have. Now I'm lying. No, they did play it on that tour. But this is 1997. It had been at least 10 years since they added this to the set. Same thing for track 15, Friends of Mine. And Simon sounds great on these. Track 16, Careless Memories. Another one, these three songs they hadn't played since at least the Rio tour. Careless Memories they did more often, but Friends of Mine, Anyone Out There, that were ones that must have blown the crowd away at that time. I would have been freaked out. But that's nothing compared to track 17, Secret October. That's worth the price of admission alone for getting this album. Again, keyboards would have been nice, but you know, we take what we can get sometimes. And we got Secret October with guitars, bass, and drums and vocals. It sounds fucking great. And I'm not sure if they played this again on any subsequent tours. I know they played a lot of older stuff going up through Astronaut and even on All You Need Is Now, but I'm not sure about Secret October. But what a great tune. One of my favorites from the B-sides. There's just something about it. Secret October was done by Nick and Simon just kind of messing around on the 11th hour during the making of Seven the Ragged Tiger. It was just this keyboard thing that Nick, I guess, had and kept going over, and him and Simon just did it in one night. And what a weird piece. It has an atmosphere about it that, like music does to you sometimes. It kind of makes you feel a certain kind of way that's sometimes hard to articulate because it's a frequency. That's all music is. And when you tune yourself to certain frequencies, or when something's tuned to your frequency, it has an effect on you. And Secret October is one of those songs that always kind of got me. Like, I worry I could probably be put into a trance with it. So, but it's great, and it's great here. They finish up with track 18 and 19 with Ordinary World and Rio. Pretty standard versions. Rio, I think they were playing a fruity version of too before this tour, because the Wedding album tour, and every time I say that, like, my eyes just glaze over because I can't believe I can't remember the name of the tour. I saw it. What was the name of that? No one's going to answer me. Anyway, yeah, that wraps up the album. It's an hour and 30. If Nick was on this album and there was a little bit more editing, it would be great because this set list is amazing. I mean, yeah, it's a little Dazzland heavy, but that's fine with me. I like that album. But, you know, a good version of Hungry Like the Wolf. Anyone Out There, Friends of Mine, Careless Memories, Secret October. It's like, wow, man. What a great set list. And this is definitely worth listening to. And you know, I know how Duran Duran fans are. You know, I am one. If you're watching this, you've heard it. You know, I'm just kind of discussing it. Oh, sorry about that. That was my copious notes hardcover book. So yeah, that's it. I still trying to find out the officiality, as it were, of this release. They had to okay it somehow. It was published by Man Mountain Music, is the name of the company, but it was listed in all the record store day releases for 2018. I went back and read all the official releases, and it was listed, and like I said, it's on every streaming service. And you can get on vinyl from a lot of different places. Different colored vinyl. There's one that's like silvery gray, and it looks pretty cool because the album cover, is the same thing. But terrible mix. I mean, it's loud, it's nice, it's good, but there's no Nick Rhodes, and he's like a big part of the band. You know, this isn't like the fucking, the keyboard player and Cheap Trick that plays behind the curtain. This is like, he kind of is Duran Duran to me. So they had to have signed off on this, and I really don't know why. They'd never release this now because, they're they're not trying to actively bury this period in the sand, but this is a period they probably don't want to reference too much because it was kind of a downtime for them. Not to me. I was in. I'm an American, so I got the album when it came out. If you couldn't do that in the UK, it was never released there until recently on streaming, the Medazzland album. But yeah, that's it. That's Duran Duran's Thanksgiving tour, the Ultrachrome Latex and Steel Tour live. That's a catchy title.